Welcome to the series where I test out the OSRS Wiki money making guides. I started this series almost a year ago, and since then we've tried out multiple methods even if they're a little silly, such as picking bananas or even flax. If you enjoy these types of videos, then feel free to check out the playlist that I've made for them, and feel free to leave a suggestion down in the comments for a method that you'd like to see tested. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's moneymaker, we'll be taking a look at Dagannoths. Now the reason why I'm doing this is just because I got a Slayer task for them, and also I kind of forgot to put my Slayer helmet on during this. So throughout the gear setup phase, just pretend that I'm wearing a Slayer helmet. Now these don't have their entry on the wiki, probably because they're not the best for money, but they are a nice Slayer task, and we can always kill the Dagannoth kings in the future whenever we get another task for more money. So as for the gear setup, here is what I decided to go with. The best in slot melee that I currently own, and of course our cannon, which will be doing most of the work. Now as for getting there, I will be using fairy ring, so if you don't have the Lumbridge Elite diary done, you will need a lunar staff or a Draman staff. So let's go ahead and configure it. Type in lighthouse, and it is the fairy ring code ALP. You can enter through this doorway right here. Go down the iron ladder, go through this strange wall, and this is the area where we will be killing the Dagannoths. Luckily there's nobody here, so we can go ahead and set up our cannon over there and start the task. Once the cannon is set up and firing, turn on this, drink a sip of the super combat potion, and we can start killing the Dagannoths. I'm also going to be timing myself to see how long it takes to do this whole task of 131 Dagannoths. It shouldn't take very long at all, especially with this cannon setup. Also, I don't recommend using the weapon that I'm currently using. I just forgot to swap it out for the regular Abyssal Whip. Probably not worth using the tentacle here, but you know, I guess you can use it however you want to. If I remember correctly, their drop table isn't too amazing. I think the only thing that really pays for the supplies that we'll be using here are some of the seed drops, like the Snapdragon seeds, so hopefully we get one of those. And since there are a bunch of Dagannoths in this area, and it is multi-combat, even in this really good gear, I'm still taking quite a bit of damage. I'm already at 56 hit points. So maybe bringing the Staradome and Godsword might be a good decision. But I feel like this task is over so quickly that it's really not necessary. And if I do take too much damage, then I can always pray protect from melee or protect from range, but I think my range defense is really good in this setup, so I will most likely be protecting from melee. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this task. It's a very straightforward task, not hard at all. You just let the cannon do most of the work for you and just fill it up whenever it gets too low. And we just got a Clue Scroll Medium. Ensouled Dagannoth heads as well, so if you have a Soul Bearer, might want to bring that as well. These aren't valued too much, I think. Yeah, they're only about 3k each, so you're not missing out on a whole lot if you don't have the Soul Bearer. This might also be one of those tasks where you want to bring the Bracelets of Slaughter just to extend the task. It's some pretty easy Slayer XP. They also drop these neat little caskets. Not to be confused with the Clue caskets, but still a nice drop to see. And just like some of the other tasks where I use Barrage or Burst, some of the kills might not be tracked in the loot tracker if they die at the exact same time, so we'll see and compare how many kills were tracked in the loot tracker after we're done. Of course, this isn't the only place where you can kill Dagannoths. You can also kill them in the Catacombs of Kourend and also Waterbirth Island. But I like coming to the lighthouse just because this is where I would kill them whenever I was on the Slayer grind, and it's a pretty nice spot. I find it pretty interesting that you can actually sell the casket by itself instead of opening it and seeing what loot you get. The casket itself is valued at just around 886 GP. But I think we're going to open it just to see what we get. Now, of course, this gear setup is very expensive. You could bring Proselyte, which would be a lot less expensive, and you can also save on money because of the prayer potions. The prayer potions will last you a lot longer. Also, if you have a Holy Wrench, might want to bring that as well, so you can get some extra prayer points for each prayer sip. And as for the range setup, you could just bring a rune crossbow with some black D-head if you wanted to. And just like that, we have finished our Slayer task. So unfortunately, we didn't get lucky with any good seed drops like the Snapdragon, so I'm pretty sure we lost some money on this just because of how many cannonballs we used. We came here with 1,000, so yeah, quite a bit were used, and that is going to hurt us just a little bit. But again, it's not really a good money-making Slayer task, but it is good for like XP, and it is a very quick task as well, so it's good for points. So I guess we could go ahead and do the price check right here since we didn't really get too much. Go ahead and open up this casket, and inside there's a sapphire. So we would have made more money if we just sold the sapphire, the casket by itself, but still pretty interesting. So here's the great loot check, I guess. We got a toad flax seed, sapphire, and 3 ensouled heads, along with some other stuff that I just didn't choose to pick up because it wasn't valued at too much. The total loot tracker is valued at just around 31k. That is if you were to pick up absolutely everything, which is definitely not worth it. There's a bunch of low valued items. And yeah, that's our loot. Oh, and by the way, this is how long it took us to complete the full task. About 8.5 minutes. Alrighty, and after about 5 clue steps, we have our medium casket, after I answer this question. And there we go. Hopefully we get some ranger boots, that way we can say that this is like 30 mil an hour. Alright, so here we go. Okay. Not bad, I guess. I don't think this probably still doesn't cover the cost of all the supplies, but you know what? It's alright. It'll pay for some of it. So obviously I won't count this as part of the profit. So again, the profit is just about 10k from this one task, but if you wanted to, there you go. About 80k. Now we can go ahead and calculate how much money we lost from this one task. So if we take the cost of supplies, which was 108,442 GP, subtract that from the money we made, which was 10,938 GP, that gives us a grand total loss of 97,504 GP. So this task really isn't that great for money, but hopefully you get a sea drop to pay for most of the supplies you used. I guess if you really wanted to, you could also not use a cannon to save on the cannonballs, but it's a really fast task with the cannon, so I feel like it's worth using. Still, the next time that we get a Dagannoth task, I will be killing the Dagannoth Kings, and there we are sure to make a lot more money. Here's also a look at the amount of kills that we got throughout this one task. Again, some of them are missing because they might have died at the exact same time. I believe the task did start with 131. And here's a look at all of the XP that we got. We also got some prayer XP because of the bone crusher that we brought. I think it's pretty much worth it since you're not going to be picking up these bones and burying them manually. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe even a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.